Hello Satnam, and greetings to you from a very cold, snowy, sleety London. I'm feeling so blessed and grateful to be inside in the warm right now. It's pretty yucky out there. And I'm also really happy and excited to be back speaking once again about Daniel Odier's book, Desire, the Tantric Path to Awakening. I love reading from this book so much at the moment. I actually get like really excited before I'm about to do these Facebook lives because I can't actually wait to re-immerse myself in these teachings because I love them so much and they inspire me so much. So hi everyone who's there. Hi. This video today is entitled Tantra, so isn't it just an excuse for a shag-fest? Yay! This is a topic that needs addressing because there's so much misconception and misperception out there, and being someone who puts herself out there as a teacher of sacred sexuality, as a priestess of sacred sexuality, I see it and I get it and I observe it and experience it all the time. It's not a big part of my experience, actually, but you know, pretty consistently there'll be one or two people, usually men, who project onto me the notion that because I talk openly about sexuality and because I have that word sexuality in the title of what I do, that I'm up for it. Or that I'm sexually available. There's a complete misperception. So let me just try and clarify that, and then also read a little bit more from this amazing book, which really does tap into what for me, and of course this is just purely my own subjective opinion, but it really does for me tap into the truth of what Tantra is about, which is a far greater understanding of sex and sexuality than is understood in the everyday, let's put it that way. So for me, my body is a temple, my sexuality is absolutely sacred, and that is the case for all of us. And what I'm so passionate about is sharing and inspiring others to remember that too, and to come to that understanding of themselves and their bodies too. And in my understanding, my body and my sexuality are also, when I fully embrace that aspect of myself, a way for me to awaken spiritually, which means that I'm coming closer and closer to the realization of my godlike nature and the truth of my divine essence. And when I really reside in that place, I am self-fulfilled. There is no need for anything. And this beautiful energy of love and awareness and joy just moves through my being unimpeded. So that's what it's about for me. And the fact that I talk about my body and sex and sexuality so openly is because to me it's the most pure, divine, holy thing. It's just that out in the world, so much of our perception of our bodies and our sexuality has become utterly distorted and immersed in the shadow. And unfortunately, the very institutions that we regard as being spiritual have often been a part of that distortion. So religion being number one on my list for an institution that has ingrained shadow sexuality within everybody, in every culture and every institution, so that for example, when we feel desire, instead of owning our desire, very much we project it on to somebody else and begin to objectify them. So I'm going to give you a really real example of this. So yesterday, I think it was, I posted something online about how I went dancing, and for me dancing is an ecstatic experience, and I really feel myself like I'm making love with life and that I'm making love with the divine, like the divine is in me and we are communing. It's just ecstatic and it's orgasmic on a cellular level. When I say orgasmic, for me that doesn't mean that I'm getting off around my genitals and my yoni. It means that my whole body is feeling like it's lit up with absolute bliss and the vibration of divine ecstasy. That's what orgasmic orgasmic means to me, okay? It's got nothing to do with a man being there shoving his cock up me, right? I'm just going to be really straight talking here. And so I was talking about my experience, which was divine and holy for me, and how that does also awaken my desire. And I'm just aware of it, that from, fleetingly moments of sexual desire arise in me, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful. I welcome it. And then I also mentioned how I had a dance with one man, which was completely beautiful and ecstatic. And it wasn't about sex. I didn't even look at his body or his face. It wasn't about intercourse in that sense. It was just about two energies meeting in the dance. It turns out when I went to speak to that man afterwards that he just had a little baby boy, and he's married to a beautiful woman he met in the dance. So it wasn't about attraction. It wasn't about either of us projecting our sexual desires onto each other. It was simply about the embrace of the energies of both of us in that pure, divine, holy moment of truth. Okay, and then somebody posted a video underneath which was all about two people having sex and this sort of orgiastic rite. And I was thinking, wow, what was going off in that person's head when they read what I wrote, Crazy stuff. So when we talk about Tantra and when we talk about desire, the misperception is often that it's all about going around and being very loose with our sexuality. And actually, it's not. It's really not. And the more we really embrace the truth of these teachings, actually, the more and more refined and discerning we become about our body and who we share our energies with. So I'm just going to read you a little bit now from Daniel Odier's book and what he has to say about this, and then add a little bit more commentary. And by the way, hi. Hi, Shakti. So yesterday I spoke a little bit about how our passions and desires are actually, I love this phraseology, steed-like messengers that carry us rapidly to consciousness. But there is, there's not a condition, but there's a way of embracing them. So this all-encompassing, I'm reading now from the book, larger conception of the profound dignity of the human being is often misunderstood. Certain people imagine that it refers to permissiveness, okay? And in allowing themselves to follow their egoistic inclinations, they bind themselves increasingly in suffering and absence. So if we take these teachings on a surface level and interpret it to mean, I can just follow my desire and just go and fuck everyone. Yeah. We're really, really missing the point big time and setting ourselves and others up for pain and suffering. This is not what it's about. This is the battle of impulsiveness against spontaneity. Now, this is really interesting. He makes this distinction between impulsiveness and spontaneity. Wow, it takes a lot of fine-tuning of our awareness to really walk that line. And I know that myself because I'm a very impulsive and spontaneous person. And sometimes I've acted really impulsively and sometimes spontaneous. And there's a fine line there. And it's really up to us to find that. So impulsiveness is brutal and destructive, strong words, because it is unconscious of the other and of the world. So when we're just blindly following the sexual energy at the genital level, which, unconsciously it's going fuck, right? Sex, fancy. I'm feeling desire, therefore I'm going to project it onto this person opposite me. We're not owning what we're feeling. We're not actually allowing ourselves to fully feel. Perhaps it feels so uncomfortable to own our sexuality because of the conditioning of religion and society that we don't want to own it. So we want to project it onto someone else, right? It's powerful. This is the energy that creates all of life. It is the energy of life. Yes, it's mega powerful. And we are that powerful, and it is our divine energy too. It's sacred. So impulsiveness is brutal and destructive because it is unconscious of the other, of the world, and of the world. And I can totally admit that I have followed my impulses lots of times to my own destruction and or pain or suffering in the future to others too. I totally admit I have done that. And if we're honest, I'm sure we can all see that. Spontaneity is full of grace, feel the difference, for it is granted immediately through consciousness to the reality of the environment. What does that really mean? Consciousness to the reality of the environment. It means we are awake to every sensation that is happening in our bodies and around us. And if we're really awake and in tune to that, we could not override the boundaries of another. We would be sensitive enough to feel their field as well as ours. I'm going to read you a little bit more. This is from Abhinavagupta, the I think it was 11th century Indian tantric philosopher. Our desires are powerless if they do not dip into the vibrating reality. So they're powerless if they do not dip into the vibrating reality. The vibrating reality is the energy of all of life. It's the divine Shakti energy, which is right there if we would but tune into it. It is true that one can realize nothing without desire, so we need it. Thus one must plunge desire into the efficiency of spanda, the divine tremoring. If one puts all his energy into a single desire, if one goes all the way, hello Amy, the book is Desire, Tantric Path to Awakening by Daniel Odier. If one puts all his energy into a single desire, if one goes all the way with his impulse force, then one will join again the divine energy of desire. Let me explain how that might work. So say, for example, you feel your desire. Say, for example, it starts in your genitals. Say, for example, you're feeling turned on because you've seen someone you find sexually attractive. Then how about you allow yourself to fully feel that desire without projecting it onto the other person, without needing to act upon it? What would happen in your body then if you just allow that sensation and that energy to build? What would happen? Well, in tantric and yogic teachings, for example, that energy can expand, ignite and flow up through your whole body and every energy channel in your body until you are vibrating and quivering with ecstatic orgasmic energy and power. And when you are having that experience, you will feel as one, and you will feel transcendent, and you will feel as if you are meeting the divine. And you're doing that all by yourself. It's your own energy, it's your own desire, it's your own divinity. It's got nothing to do with the other person that you're projecting your stuff onto. That's what this is about. The body immediately confers perfection, that is, certainty with regard to the true nature of things, thanks to the contact with the power of the self, capital S, your divine self. So, how to desire without suffering? Isn't that a great question? Don't we all desire and suffer so much? Yes. How to surrender to passion without experiencing destruction? Another great question. How do we do this? Why do almost all the spiritual paths prohibit sensuality, desire, and passion? Yeah, great question. Why do they? Why cut off a part of human potential? Like, hey guys, we've got this massive sexual energy, we've got these genitals, we've got this body, like we're designed to have senses. Like, why cut that off in order to find plenitude? What kind of plenitude would it be if it did not include the totality of the human? And that is why my late teacher, Shakti Milan, who's not with us anymore in this dimension, her whole form of therapy was called totality therapy, because it encompasses the whole person, including their sensuality and their sexuality. Of course it has to. And once again, guys, this is why I'm so passionate about the divine feminine and the awakening feminine. We're rebalancing the masculine form of spirituality, cut us off from our bodies, cut us off from our senses, cut us off from our sexuality. This is powerful stuff. And why does religion try to cut it off? Because they know it's so powerful that we will realize our God selves without needing any religion or institution. We will awaken to the truth without needing an intermediary. And when we're truly awakened, then we are empowered and we can no longer be subjugated by forces that would rather have us subjugated. So Tantra has the answer to all of these questions: how to desire without suffering, how to surrender to passion without experiencing destruction. the answers are all there. And it begins with owning our desires, feeling our desires fully, and recognizing that they are ours and ours alone, and they are not, you know, somebody else's responsibility, nor need we project them onto the other. And he's going to go on and answer the rest of those questions in the rest of this book. But for now, it's about like, own it fully, feel it fully, open once again to feel everything. And when you do, trust me, you will feel so fulfilled in your own being. You will feel so complete in your own being. Then this neediness from which so much of human interaction and relating and sexuality often stems won't be there. And then perhaps there'll be a chance that you'll begin to relate and make love from a more organic and authentic, truthful, honoring place, where you really recognize, because you see it in yourself, that the other is also the divine. Oh, I just brought myself to a seemingly nice ending there, didn't I? I'm sorry if you've commented and I haven't said anything while you're watching. I get a bit carried away and impassioned, and if I haven't got my glasses on, I can't read your comments. If I can see that people are watching and commenting, so thank you. And I will go and look now after I've posted and comment below. And if there's anything that you want to share from your own experience, from your own understanding, please do. You know, it's an open discussion. I just love to share, and as you can tell, I'm really passionate about it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being with me, and have a beautiful day. Much love, and yeah, much love. I'm just feeling really hyped up. Sat Nam, everyone. Speak to you again tomorrow. Much love.